So today we're looking at two cozy fantasy manuscripts, one about a baker named William in Eldenwood, the other about a mysterious stranger, Calder Hound, in a village called Stormford. And let's just dive right in. The first major opportunity for improvement lies in transforming these static lists of sensory adjectives into active narrative beats. In both stories, really, in the opening pages, you get this heavy reliance on what I'd call laundry lists of descriptors. So for the Eldenwood story, the bakery is introduced with flickering lanterns, heady aroma, thick wooden beams, and so on. And then in the Stormford story, the village gets green fingers of moss, fine mist, damp cloaks.
Right.
And it does set a scene, sure, but it completely halts the narrative flow. It's like the reader is just standing there observing a painting of a bakery instead of actually being in it.
And the issue isn't the adjectives themselves, it's that they aren't doing any real work. You need to sort of weaponize that atmosphere against the character.
Weaponize it. I like that.
Yeah, don't just tell me the oven is hot. Make the character pay a price for that heat. We have to bridge that gap between just setting the scene and actually telling the story.
Right, make it tangible. So if we look at that ancient oven in Eldenwood, the text says it radiated a heat that was as much a part of the bakery. That's very passive. It's just there.
It's wallpaper. That's all it is. Instead, have William wipe a smudge of flour and sweat from his eyes because the heat is literally blinding him. Or maybe the dough is rising too fast under his hands because the room is a sauna.
So it forces him to work at a panicked pace.
Exact. And suddenly that warmth isn't just set dressing. It's an antagonist. It's dictating his action. It turns a description into an actual scene.
And that same logic applies to the second story, right? With Calder Hound and Stormford, its whole defining feature is the rain. There's this line, "Rain fell here with the persistence of an old priest's sermon." It's a beautiful line, but again, it's just a statement. It's a fact.
We can do more with it. We know from later in the draft that Calder has these old war scars on his hands.
Okay.
So why not use the weather to amplify that backstory? Instead of listing the dampness, show us Calder waking up, flexing his hands, and feeling those scars ache because of the relentless rain.
So the dampness makes his grip on the kneading trough difficult, maybe?
Yes, it forces him to adjust his technique. And now you're building the world. It's a rainy place. And you're building the character. He has his painful past. All in a single, active moment.
And that grounds the reader immediately.
Immediate. We aren't just watching rain fall on a roof. We are feeling the ache in our own knuckles. And that is the difference between atmosphere and immersion.
Okay, so once we step back from those sensory details, we hit, I think, a bigger structural problem. A key theme running through this material seems to be a struggle with identity, and I mean the identity of the stories themselves. If you strip away the proper nouns, Eldenwood versus Stormford, these are pretty much the exact same story.
They are incredibly similar.
The narrative beats are almost indistinguishable. You have a young male baker, a supportive uncle or grandfather figure, a festival, the Festival of Breads or the Harvest Festival, a rival, a skeptic, a secret ingredient.
And it all leads to this warm community
Right. In one story, William has Victor. In the other, Calder has the town gossip, but they just blend together into this generic bakery fantasy soup. The author is relying on the setting to do the work that genre should be doing.
They're tonally identical. You've got the cozy vibes, the low stakes, the warm bread. It's all very pleasant, but it's forgettable because they blur.
Yeah.
We need to polarize. We need to push these two stories to opposite ends of the cozy spectrum.
So you define them by their extremes?
Right. Make Eldenwood your high magic chaos story, and then turn Stormford into a cozy noir.
Cozy noir, okay.
I mean, Eldenwood already has tieflings, a goblin named Ricket, a wizard, but right now, those are just aesthetic skins. A tiefling buys a bun, but it's just a bun.
It's flavored text, not a core mechanic.
Exactly. So let's lean into that high magic. Instead of William just baking really good bread, focus the entire story on the wish pastries concept that's introduced later. Make the magic the source of the conflict.
So rather than a standard baking competition, the conflict comes from the volatility of the magic ingredients themselves.
Yes. Imagine if the firethorn berry pastry he bakes for the tiefling family causes a magical mishap. Maybe it works too well. They start literally breathing fire.
Okay, yeah.
So William has to use his baking knowledge to solve a magical problem. The Festival of Breads isn't just a taste test. It's a display of volatile, magical culinary arts.
That gives Eldenwood a really distinct high-energy identity. It becomes about containment and wonder, not just fermentation.
Precisely. and that immediately distinguishes it from Stormford.
Which you called cozy noir. The story already has Alanla Elena, the gossip columnist, and this suspicious atmosphere.
It does. Stormford is rainy, it's moody, it's full of whispers. But in the current draft, the mystery of Calderhound is resolved very politely. To really lean into that noir aspect, play up the tension. Alanla Elena isn't just a quirky writer, she should be a threat. Her pamphlet is a weapon.
So the stakes aren't just, will people like my bread, it's, will my secret be exposed before I'm ready?
Exactly. Instead of the gossip just being background chatter, have her pamphlet actually threaten Calder's plan. Maybe she finds a real clue, something that suggests he's a criminal, and he has to bake a specific recipe to subtly prove his identity without revealing it.
And that makes the final reveal by Uncle Hobart more than just a happy announcement.
It becomes a high-stakes moment where he has to clear his name. That rainy village setting just demands a mystery plot, not just a baking plot.
So that gives us two very distinct flavors. High magic chaos in one, moody mystery in the other. Which leads us to the characters. The narratives right now rely too heavily on summarizing relationships and traits rather than just showing them through interaction. The author is basically labeling them like spice jars. We're told Sabina is pure sensuality, Penelope is careful propriety, Elena has sharp, intelligent eyes.
Right.
In the Eldenwood story, William and Victor have a rivalry born of respect. We're just given the conclusion without seeing any evidence.
It's lazy characterization. Don't tell me they're different. Let them argue over a croissant, you know? If a character is sharp-witted, let her solve a problem. If a rivalry is respectful, they should defend each other when it counts.
Okay, so let's take that trio of women in Stormford. Sabina, Penelope, and Elena. Right now, they sit and eat and gossip. It's fine, but their reactions are all described for us.
So boring. Let's just script that scene through their behavior. Have Penelope refuse to eat a pastry because it's improper to eat sweets before noon. That shows her propriety.
Okay?
Meanwhile, Sabina steals a bite of Penelope's rejected pastry. That shows her sensuality, her disregard for rules. And Elena isn't just listening, she's cross-referencing their gossip with notes she made earlier, which shows her intelligence.
That makes the scene so much more dynamic. You stop reading a list of traits and you start watching a scene. And there's that scene later where the two men, Gareth and Darian, confront Elena in the alley.
Right.
Currently, Calder and his dog Primo just step in and save her. It kind of makes her a damsel, even though she's described as sharp and capable.
It's such a missed opportunity for her agency. Why not show her trying to talk her way out of it first? Let her use that sharp wit we were told about.
So she proves her own description.
She proves it. She could verbally undress the thugs, threaten them with exposure in her pamphlet, use information she knows about them to make them hesitate. Then, when things get physical, Primo can intervene, but let her win the first round.
And what about the William and Victor rivalry in Eldenwood? We're told it's respectful, but it just reads as generic teasing.
Rivalry born of respect is a great concept, but you have to see the respect in action.
Right.
Instead of summarizing their banter, show a scene during the competition. Let's say Victor is building this massive, ambitious bread sculpture as some fey ledge. It starts to wobble. It's about to collapse.
Okay.
Instead of laughing, William instinctively reaches out and helps him prop it up until it sets. They share a look. William wants to beat Victor at his best, not because of some accident. That one physical action shows the respect far more than the narrator telling us it exists.
That one moment would add so much depth. Okay, so shifting gears to the plot. As I see it, the conflicts in both stories are resolved way too quickly, too conveniently. It robs the listener of any real emotional payoff.
Absolutely.
This last piece is really about the stake, because right now there aren't any. In Eldenwood, Rickett the Goblin breaks in to use enchanted flour, William catches him, and Rickett just immediately agrees to stop.
And helps clean up, yeah.
It's a conflict that lasts maybe 3 sentences. And in Stormford, the rumors about Calder being a mercenary are dispelled the second Uncle Hobart introduces him. Poof, gone.
It just robs the reader of the payoff. Even in a cozy story, the solution has to feel earned. If the goblin wants to use the regenerating pie flour, let him use it.
Create a disaster.
A total mess. Have a scene where Rickett bakes a pie that keeps growing during the festival. It won't stop refilling itself. It becomes a real problem. William has to step in and use his baking skills to contain it, maybe by baking a containment crust around it, or using some counterspell ingredient.
So it proves he can handle wild magic.
And it makes the later discovery of the wish pastries feel earned. He's not just a baker, he's a magical baker.
that turns what was a throwaway line into a central set piece. Okay, and for Stormford, the rumors about him being a criminal are flying around, but they don't seem to actually affect anything.
It's way too easy. If the whole village thinks he's a killer, the bakery should be empty.
Yes.
Show us a scene of Uncle Hobart sitting in a completely empty shop because the town is afraid of the scarred mercenary in the back. That gives Calder a reason to feel guilty. He's trying to save the bakery, but his very presence is killing it.
That raises the stakes significantly.
It does. It makes him question if he should just leave to save his uncle's reputation. Then, when the reveal happens, the relief is palpable. The final celebration, when everyone returns, becomes emotionally resonant because we saw that low point.
It goes from being an inevitable party to a hard-won redemption.
Exactly. And it reinforces that show, don't tell principle again. Don't tell us the village is suspicious. Show us the empty chairs.
So, to recap the main points of our critique. First, we want to anchor those lush sensory details in character action. Make the heat of the oven or the damp of the rain physically impact the protagonist. Second, really distinguish the two settings by leaning hard into their unique subgenres. Turn Eldenwood into a high magic playground and Stormford into a moody, low-stakes noir mystery.
Right.
Third, show those character traits through choices and actions rather than just applying labels. Let the gossip writer use her wit, let the rival show his respect.
Let them prove.
And finally, allow the conflict to actually breathe. Let the goblin's magic cause real chaos, and let the rumors cause real damage, so that the resolution feels truly earned. It's about taking these raw ingredients and kneading them into a story with a much stronger crust and a softer, more complex crumb. You've already built this wonderful, cozy atmosphere. Now it just needs a structural skeleton that can support the weight of the reader's attention.
Well said.
We would love to see how these stories evolve. Please submit the revised draft for a second look. We're hungry for the next batch.